Hi, I'm Corrine LaFollette. I'm with San Clemente Wealth Management. I have the pleasure of being in partnership with my father, Arlen Enmeier, and we office on Del Mar right here in San Clemente. I'm so excited to be on this podcast episode of Salted Up, and I look forward to a great conversation with my dear friend, Lyssa.
Thank you for being here.
I'm thrilled to be here. This is so fun. I love this project that you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, we really want to bring the community together. Each person has a story that's beautiful, that brings something to San Clemente. And you have been in San Clemente for a really long time.
Well, we don't have to say really long. I'm not that old. But I was born here, which is kind of my fun little claim to fame. San Clemente local, born at San Clemente General Hospital. And I went to Concordia, Shorecliffs, and graduated from San Clemente High. It's pretty fun.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, with this town, what makes it very special for you?
Oh, it's unlike anything. This week is homecoming week. Well, I know we're releasing this later, but anyway, homecoming week is now, and that's so special when you think my kids are going to the same high school that I went to. I'm working on the street, Del Mar, where they're going to come down in the parade. I'm going to sit in the stands and watch the football game where I used to sit as a teeny bopper and now I have all my family here. So my mom and my dad live in the same house we grew up in. My brother lives down the street from me, teaches at the high school. He's serving as on city council. My sister just moved back to town, and her two kids are in the school system as well. Her oldest is a cheerleader at the football games for San Clemente High. I mean, it's
and
like
your
surreal.
husband's a teacher.
Oh, and my husband's a teacher at Vance.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we're
You guys are the perfect
local.
San Clemente local family.
So
that
sweet.
Generational.
Yeah.
Yes.
When my sister moved back this summer, my parents just practically burst. They were so excited. We're all home. And who wouldn't want to come home? This is amazing.
It is amazing.
I'm very, very fortunate to get to be here. We all are.
We are. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your journey and your story of your career and what brought you to now manage people's wealth.
Right. It's really an interesting journey. When I was young, my father, who has been a financial planner since I was probably 3 or 4 years old, he started asking at a very young age, "Oh, Corrine, would you ever consider working with me and becoming a financial planner with me?" And he'd probably pitch
When
this
you're
when
3
I
or
was
4.
Oh yeah, when I was little. He
You're
wanted
like,
me to be in the
sure.
business. No.
Monopoly money.
But you know what I did do when I was really little, like 10? I would do the envelopes for his mailers. Like I would work in his little office and send out the mailings. But anyway, no. The answer was a hard no. There was no way I was going to be a financial planner. I didn't even know really what it was, but I would roll my eyes, back as far as they could go. No way am I going to be a financial planner. No way, no way. And he goes, "You'd be so great at this." And I said, "Oh my gosh, no. So I went on my own path, and I pursued a degree in health and community services, health administration, emergency medical services administration, specifically disaster management.
What drew you to that?
Isn't that wild?
What?
I know. So I had some experience with some disasters. I was at Oklahoma State when there was the Oklahoma City bombing. I had been in a Hurricane Bertha out in South Carolina. Anyway, my involvement in those disasters was really kind of an impetus for that major. But I laugh because disaster management is like, that's what we do as moms. That's what we do.
It's
in
true.
all fields, disaster
like
management.
any job, right?
Yeah, pretty much any job, it's disaster management. So that was helpful. But then right out of college, I got married to Matt, and he was already on staff with an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ. It's called CRU now, and it's a full-time ministry organization. I joined him in that, and we were basically college youth pastors at Chico State. So it was so awesome, so fun.
Do you have any great stories to tell from that time?
Well, yes, lots of great stories, but the biggest takeaway is the relationships. I mean, friendships that are so near and dear, still very, very close. Yeah, we're going to see a bunch of them actually in a couple weeks. So, yeah, we're really tight. That just bonds you together in a really fantastic way. Yeah. So we were in full-time ministry together, and then from there, I decided to go into teaching. And so went back to school, got a degree, and I had enough credits that it was easy for me to get a teaching credential in health education because I had the health major, but I'd also taken a lot of business classes. So I was able to teach in a business and accounting classes and then mathematics. So I was all three. I went into teaching and I taught high school for 12 years and I taught health, math, and business. So you look at that combo together. I mean, I didn't know it then, but this is all shaping my path to financial planning. So ministry, absolutely working with the individual, connecting with them on a deep level, listening, counseling, just guiding. And then you put the teaching element in. And so it was it was 2012 when my dad said it again. Is there any way you want to go into financial planning? And I said, yeah, I think so. I was just ready for a change. I'd been teaching for 12, 13 years. It's exhausting. That field is so fabulous and so wonderful, so rewarding, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I gave my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears 7 days a week to it. So I was pretty wiped. And I had 3 kids at that point, and I was really longing to come back to San Clemente. So all that had happened up in Chico. And we loved Chico, but it was time to come back home. So that was our homecoming.
That's a big change for you.
Huge change.
You uprooted your whole family, your whole life to embark on this endeavor with your
life change.
Father. And then you're about to work with your father. A lot of people might okay.
Yeah,
how does that work?
That is unique. And that is something that's fun, is being in business with him. We're a unique setup, father-daughter. There's not many financial advisor teams like this. But we actually work so well together. It's really fun. It's really, really fun. We're very similar, but we also complement each other. And we just really acknowledge each other's strengths and then play to them. So I'm so fortunate. But it's funny that I look back at that younger self who rolled her eyes all the way in the back of her head. There's no way I would do this. And then I have to go, okay, Dad, you're right. I really do like this job.
He knew what you would love.
Yeah, and I do. I work with people all day long. I'm totally in relationships, deep, deep connected relationships. Our clients are like family to us, or they are family. I mean, some of them are actually blood relation, but everyone feels like family. And you're counseling, you're going deep with people, and then you're coaching, and I'm running the numbers, I'm doing the math, I'm doing the business, and then the health is the whole person. I love
Absolutely. And money is a very personal thing for people.
Absolutely.
That has these deep roots of what do they believe about money? What's their experience with money? It connects to some of emotional, psychological, you name it. So you're actually managing a lot more than just money.
Well, the thing that's interesting too is that so many people are so private about their finances. So remember, I was a health teacher, right? That means I taught sex ed, like to high school kids.
Like, just be open.
Yeah, I can talk about anything to anyone, and I have. People are more private about their finances than they are about their sex life.
Really?
It's fascinating. Oh, yeah. People will just spout off,
like what,
their sex life stuff, like, no problem at all, but how are you doing on your budget? And they just clam up.
What do you think that is?
Well, society and what's acceptable. And I think it's also the fear of, where do I measure up? Since it's not spoken about, no one knows the playing field. And it's become such a taboo topic. And I would love to just blast that out and make it normalized for us to
where
have
people discuss their finances with each other.
Be very
more.
honest. I'm struggling with this part of my budget, or I'm not quite sure how much should I be spending on groceries, or gosh, what are you saving in your 401k? Let's normalize that conversation.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Instead of,
because we don't always know, what is it supposed to look like? What's the guideline? How do we do this?
Am I doing okay?
Yes.
No. That's a very safe question that we should be able to ask. And if we start having those conversations, when we're doing, having happy hour, appetizers, or couples over for dinner, or whatever it is, start talking about it more. Well, we talk about politics, we talk about all these other things you're not supposed to talk at the dinner table, but we do. Let's talk about finances. Let's help one another. These are hard waters to navigate. Let's take down the barriers. So,
And do you think that maybe there's also this level of, there's so much discrepancy between what people can have,
definitely.
and that people, maybe particularly in this area, will hide if they don't have?
Absolutely. They put up a complete shield to protect themselves, and they live behind a facade. Being here in Orange County is unlike anywhere else in the world, I would argue. And it's keeping up that pretense that I've got it together financially, and, here's my evidence of that. Here's the fancy car, the home, the vacations, and you kind of talk the big talk. But my job as a financial planner is to go below that and really look at the numbers. Oh my goodness. People are hurting. There's a lot of debt. There's a lot of people are stressed about money. It's really hard.
Do you find that that's intensified over the last bit, or has that been consistent over the years?
I think it's intensified more with younger generations, that they're expected, younger generations are expected to have so much, to afford so much, to have this lifestyle that's completely absurd, given their age, their job, what they're making. So it's really, I think the pressure is more so on younger people than it is people in their 50s, 60s, 70s.
Because they've already
or they've accepted it, and they know their standard of living, and they're not having to compete as much. They're kind of don't care as much. Don't get me wrong, it's still very prevalent in this area. But I feel badly for the younger generations who are just trying to
make it. And at least I can recall when I got straight out of college, and you may have been the same way, I could buy a home.
Back then. Yeah. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. We could do it. It was still within a reasonable, you saved up for it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a down payment that you could save up for.
Well, sure, because I remember my first mortgage was $1,200.
Yes.
That is a number that will be forever etched in my mind. My first mortgage was $1,200. Now, that was a big jump from the rent that I had been paying, but my rent was $600.
68, yep.
Yeah, so it was, a grown-up number, but now it's really sad.
And so now when they get out, they have to come up with $1 million for a starter home.
Yeah, it's a whole different game now for them. So my heart goes out to them. But that's, something I wanted to really bring up is just that how do we financially, if we're talking about wellness, right? Because that's the whole picture of it is financial wellness. How do we live here without trying to chase the idea of what it means to live here? And anyway, I don't have all the solutions.
How do you teach that? What do you advise for that? How do people live within their means, with contentment, and still have a very full life?
Well, it really comes down to, and just because I'm the math person, for me the easy solution to that is percentages and working within percentages. So I learned this ages ago, and I have stuck to it. I think it's the most brilliant, simple thing to follow. It's give some, save some, live joyfully on the rest. So this is what you make. This is what comes in. Look at the whole pie, and before the month starts, so in advance, in preparation, that's the key piece of it. You look forward instead of looking backwards and going, where'd all my money go? You look forward and say, I know that this is what I'm going to be bringing in this month. And you can figure that number out pretty dang well, what you think the month is going to be. This is what I'm going to be bringing in. I'm going to take this percentage. Let's say it's 10%. I'm going to take 10% right off the bat, and I'm going to allocate that to saving. I'm going to put it within that 10%. You might have some that goes to your 401k or an IRA. You might have some that goes to the bank because you're saving for a car or saving for a house or saving for Christmas presents, whatever. But 10% is going to be savings. Okay, that's done. Write it off right from the very beginning, right from the get-go. Next 10%. Allocate that for giving. Because there's oh my goodness. There's so much research that shows that if we have generosity in our hearts and we build that into our budget, into our lifestyle, we're going to have such a different attitude about our relationship with money. If we can be generous.
What does it do when we're generous? What does it do to our hearts?
To be altruistic, to be other-minded, to be able to say, hey, let me get your lunch, or a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, or I'd like to treat you to this, or just to have that spirit of generosity instead of the greed that can just, greed comes in like a poison and it will just infiltrate every aspect of your life. So if you can spin that on its head and try to get more creative of how can I be more generous, it flows out. And I don't know why this works. I think it's the Lord. Just blessing. When you are generous in spirit, He's going to say, all right, you've done so well with a little, I'll entrust you more with now. That's in the Bible. I mean, it says that straight up. So,
It's a safe place for it to flow from.
yeah.
And for others to be blessed
And
with
that's
that.
the whole mindset. We're just stewards of it. You didn't come into the world with it and you're not leaving with it. It's just what you've got. Well, these years on earth, what are you going to do with it? And if you're being a good steward of it, you're going to get more to play with. And then it's so fun to give. It's so fun to give. I'm seeing that. I have a 12-year-old. He's loving being generous and just finding
How do you
the
teach
fun in that.
that
Well,
to younger ones?
yeah, to younger ones. I think it's fun for them to be able to give with their bodies, like to give physically. So like he'll go serve physically at FAM. That's how we love FAM. We love, love, love that ministry. So where he can go break down banana boxes, and take trucks out to the trash, or all the little manual labor, like that's giving of your time, but then to give of your talents and then also of your finances. So yeah, we're teaching that, he gets an allowance and a certain amount goes toward giving and a certain amount goes toward his savings and then a certain amount. Same thing. What I'm saying, that give some, save some, live joyfully on the rest. Start when they're young.
And it's almost that living joyfully on the rest. If your heart is already open to generosity, you've got that joy emerging.
But you put it there first.
And not last.
It's all about a mindset shift. So then you have that 80% to live off of, right? That's the 80-10-10. So 80 is that live joyfully on the rest bit. And that's the piece of contentment. So, okay, you've got 80%. So in that, you need to feed yourself. You need shelter. You need clothing. You need to somehow get yourself to and from work, But figure that out and live within that instead of going into debt and chasing what you don't have. Because the biggest thief of joy is debt and greed and wanting what you don't have. It'll just rob you of your joy. So piling on that debt, it just will not be worth it. 10 days after whatever that purchase was, it will not, there's that law of diminishing returns. It will not be fulfilling.
And do you feel like people are chasing something in that? What are they looking for when they
Status.
overspend? It's status.
Got to be status. And thinking that it's going to bring comfort and security.
Okay, sense of comfort.
But I think that the more materialistic possessions we have, it brings on more worry, more stress, more to manage. Think about, okay, 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, nice cars. You've got
You don't even want to drive the nice car around.
You're scared to drive down. Please don't put a ding in my car. Oh,
Yes.
shoot, I can't loan that out because what if something happens? The stress level just builds.
It's so true.
As opposed to, I've got a car. Feel free to use it. Do you need a car? You can borrow mine. Use it anytime you want. And I actually mean that. If you do need my car, you
thank
can
you.
have it. We have a truck if you need it. It's great for moving stuff around.
Yeah, so you're just more open to giving again.
Totally. Because you're not holding it all so tight. You're not holding it so tight because you're not chasing what you don't have. But it's hard, especially down here. I notice a difference coming from Chico, San Clemente. I flip-flopped between the two cities. I lived here in San Clemente for 18 years, and then I lived in Chico for 19, and now I'm back here in San Clemente for 10. So you can do the math and figure out my age.
Different world in Chico.
Different world. And the materialism is so fascinating. I can actually sense it when I'm driving back home to San Clemente, coming over the Grapevine and coming down. I can feel it. It's amazing. It's everywhere. It's looking around, and the cars are nicer on the freeway. It's a
Everyone
drive.
has a
It's
nice
the
car.
billboards. It's the decreasing the amount of nature and open fields that you see.
It's true. There's not the open space for your mind to be more open to.
And just be content in nature. But we're so fortunate in San Clemente that we have the beach.
We do have that.
And the mountains on the east. We're so fortunate.
That might make us unique too, is because we have all that.
We are. Yeah, totally.
I have heard people describe it as golden handcuffs, like invisible golden handcuffs on us that live here because the demand of what it costs to live here.
Yeah. So one thing that I have made like a little deal with myself, you know, it's so expensive, our home and the cost of living down here. So I've said, okay, if I'm going to work this hard to afford to live here, I need to get down to that beach at least once a week. And that's a little deal with myself.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Why are we doing this otherwise?
I mean,
yes.
Goodness
that
gracious.
Is the main reason that we do this.
Yeah, to live in beautiful San Clemente. So I had better get down there and get my feet in that sand once a week or else. What are we doing?
Okay, so here's what I think we should do. We should go a little deeper into your story.
Okay.
And is there a point for you where you had an epiphany about finances or epiphany about who you were and there was a transformation that happened? A struggle?
No, because I was so fortunate that I was raised by my dad, who instilled incredible values. My dad came from very humble beginnings. And I think that's actually part of it. He was raised on a farm in Marshall, Oklahoma. He's one of 5. And he was on a tractor before the age of 10. I mean, they had to work as a family. They didn't have enough for anything. They were really, really tight. It was his parents' goal that they would all attend college, which they all 5 did, fully scholarshiped, and it's a beautiful story.
They worked really hard.
They worked really hard. My dad had 2 jobs throughout college. He didn't have any free time. He worked and worked.
That's all he's really ever known is this.
He knows how to
work ethic, because he's still working.
Oh yeah,
now.
Is
he in the office today?
He's in the office right now.
Okay.
I just said goodbye to him. I gotta go, Dad. I gotta go film a podcast. Hold down the office. He's there.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 80 years old. Yeah, and works 5 days a week. Yeah. So that work ethic was installed early on. And then for me, I think having those humble beginnings in ministry, like I would love to go back and find my W-2 from those years. I think we made like less than $20,000 combined, the 2 of us. I mean, it's laughable. It is amazing what we did.
And do you remember being pretty happy with that?
Of course we were. Yes. Of course. We were thrilled. We had a great life.
Right.
We would splurge on a Friday night and go get, a taco. Woo! Not like sit down, but like at a taco truck. No, we were fantastic. Because, here's the other thing. In that season, everybody else was the same as us. Mm-hmm. We didn't have rich, wealthy friends that were, showing us up. We were all in the same boat. So that was something I was going to say, is what's so important about that whole 80-10-10 and that sense of contentment, surround yourself with other people who are also content.
That's good. Yeah.
Because if
it
you're...
influences us.
Absolutely. And we're all just chameleons of our environment. But if you're around other people who are also chasing wealth or chasing the next fill in the blank, what, the big house, the big car, a bigger pay, whatever.
Yeah.
The stock that's just a the winner that, had 100% returns in 6 months time, or, whatever you're chasing, that's not going to be healthy for you. But if you're surrounding yourself with people who make less than you and they have contentment off the charts, that's going to be a really positive influence. So
these are wise words. It's all about learning how to be content. So when you are working with your clients, who some of them are really well off, how do you find that they engage with contentment, and how do they have a relationship with money?
Yeah, it's so funny. We have clients that range in age, wealth, everything on the spectrum. But we have some of the nicest millionaire clients you have ever met. I mean, salt of the earth. You would never expect that their portfolio is as large as it is, because they are just normal human beings. There's no pretentiousness or air about them. They are just so kind and so generous, financially or just relationally. They're just giving people and humble. So that's lovely beyond. But there are also people that don't have much, and they're holding it really tight and holding it real closely, or sadly going into feuds with family members, or there's estranged relationships over inheritance, and it can get really nasty.
Tell us a little bit about when money starts to poison.
Yeah.
And one chooses not to live in contentment, maybe holds on to it, or it gives them something. What happens to a human?
Yeah. I think, so here's a statistic that I have literally watched be played out in front of me. The statistic is that 80% of people who inherit will have it spent, gone, liquidated, zero balance within 3 years. Doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is. 80% will have it gone in 3 years. And that's
shocking.
It's shocking. And I just watched it happen almost to the day a couple months ago. The original owner had passed 3 years ago, and I think it was about March or April, the beneficiary it was gone. It was all spent. So in that, you just see someone who has what we would call like lifestyle creep, or you come in this windfall and you begin to live in that expectation that, oh, this is my new life and this will be sustainable. It's not sustainable. You're blowing through it. It's going to be
They don't
gone.
know how to manage what they hadn't created.
No. So instead, they should have stuck with their previous lifestyle and maybe given themselves like a little bit each year as just a little bonus. Spread that out for 30, 40 years and let it grow. But no, the statistic is 80% of people will have it gone within 3 years. And I just watched it happen. Literally to the day. So it's just tragic. Because now what? Where's your money going to come from when something really bad happens? A pipe problem, water heater goes out, car repairs. You don't have that backup anymore. You just blew through it.
And that was a gift.
It was a gift, and it's gone.
So it's a lot about stewardship.
Absolutely.
And that's a big part of what you try to teach people.
That's my number one mission.
It is.
Well, it's not yours. You didn't come into this world with it. You're not leaving with it. You're just a temporary holder. You're so temporary. So what are you going to do while you have it here?
And when people conceptualize this is temporary, do you think that's difficult for people to do?
Absolutely. Well, and I've seen people who even try to control it from the grave. They put things in their trust or in their wills, or they're trying to finagle who will get it and who won't get it. And I mean, it's just wasted energy. Oh my gosh.
Oh, they do. They try to control it. Yeah. This is the date. This is the time.
This is who will. And if it's going to you, it's definitely not going to your spouse. And make sure this person can't whatever. And make sure my cat and dog get all this entitlements. I mean, there's crazy stuff that goes on. Yeah, but it's control. And once you let that go, let the control go, you're going to enjoy it so much more. Just release the control.
Yeah. For people that maybe are struggling, are there different ways that they can, and they are giving, they're doing all these things, and they're still not making it? Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
They're not making it financially. Like
They got the jobs, they're doing the 10, 10, 80.
80.
It's still not enough. What do you advise?
Well, sometimes you have to make some really drastic decisions. Sometimes the house you're in is not the right house for you. Sometimes the city you're living in is not the right city for you. I mean, sometimes you really have to make very hard decisions. Sometimes having that second vehicle isn't really necessary. You could make it on one as a family. Or, I mean, sometimes you really have to make those hard choices.
You have to live in a different way.
You have to live within your means. That's that phrase. Living within your means, going, this is what I have. How do I create life with this? And a good life, a happy life. Not one where you're just, oh, poor me, I'm just so miserable, I don't have. Make it a thrilling, wonderful life. But where is that? Where would that be? What would that look like? And that can be some really hard soul searching, because something's going to have to give.
That's where the balance comes in.
Totally.
And they have to really give something up.
It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you'll be so much happier on the other side, especially if you can get rid of debt. Debt just, like I said before, it just drains, sucks the joy right out of you. It's like this huge shoulder, just weight that you're carrying.
Absolutely. Yeah. With your clients, would you say that most of them probably have managed their debt and they are just trying to figure out what to do with their wealth?
Try to. So sometimes I'll have a prospect come in and say, hey, here's my situation, and I want to start, saving toward this and working toward this, but I have all this debt. And I'll say, okay, let's make a plan first for you to get that debt under control. And once that's annihilated, then come back and you'll become a client. But you're not quite there yet, because you can't start moving forward into the future if you're still carrying all this baggage from the past. But that's hard to do too. But it's totally doable. It's totally attainable. It just takes discipline. And you've got to really look at that 80-10-10 and go, okay, we have to spend so much of it now just attacking debt, like getting after it, driven, passionate, and then get so motivated and pumped when you do. I mean, I joke that I always say I've got pom-poms under my desk, and I'll bust them out and be like, yay! Like when you annihilate another credit card debt, or get that one finished. Let's have a party. Let's celebrate it. Because when that baggage is done, then you can move forward and start planning for the fun stuff. And that's that stewardship.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you were to give people maybe 3 tips on finances as they prepare for the holidays, what would you say to them?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to plan ahead what you intend to give. So I talked about that 80-10-10. And I'll just say in a very practical way how my husband and I have done this for years and years and years. Oh my gosh, let's see, it's probably 20 years now we've been doing it this way, maybe more. So we have it in our family where we have 5 immediate family birthdays in the month of December and Christmas. So December is like, the money is just flowing out. 5 immediate family birthdays and Christmas. So what we've done for ages is we started a separate account and we've named it Christmas. Christmas meaning Christmas and birthday, but it really just means everything that's going to come in December. And so January through November, we shuttle money over there. It's on auto transfer. It always goes into that separate account. It's on systematic. I don't think about it. It's non-negotiable. It's just happening. That's that planning ahead.
Planning ahead.
Planning
almost
ahead.
a year ahead. You're just
Totally
constantly putting it in there.
20 years ahead. I've been doing this systematically for 20 years. So when December comes, I'm not freaking out about, oh shoot, how am I going to afford 5 birthdays, Christmas presents, and oh, something else just came up. there's a lot that happens in December. The money's there. That account is there. It's been built into. It's a pot. So now look at the pot and go, great. How fun. How fun that I have this money I get to spend. And whatever that amount is, great. That's what you have to spend. Use that money. Not that and then some debt for what you couldn't afford on top of it. Use that pot and use it like with so much joy, so much fun. Because you get to go shopping. You get to spend that much money. It's like a shopping spree. But I gave it to myself. I give myself a shopping spree.
And there isn't any stress attached to it.
No. How fun. So then you look at that pot and you go, okay, I'm going to do this much for this person's birthday and this much for this and this for that and that for that. And there's some left over and great. A charity and whatever it is you want to do, but it's a whole different mindset. So yeah, I get to give with a joyful heart instead of oh shoot, this is going to come to bite me in January. Well, get ready.
Which many people end up feeling.
Of course they do. That's why January is such a depressing month. It's horrible because people
They can't do anything.
No, they're paralyzed with debt and they have no money left. They're poor as can be, and property taxes are usually coming due, and estimated taxes, and they're strapped. They way overspent in December. So anyway, flip that. Flip that on its head.
And just prepare.
Totally prepare. And then, like this is that whole live joyfully on the rest part. Like, I have this much money to give for your birthday gift. Great. I'm going to shop a deal. I'm going to find exactly what you want. I'm going to make you something. I'm going to use my skills, my talents, my crafts. I'm going to go together with another friend. We're going to put our money together to buy you something and have so much fun with it. Instead of, oh, gosh, I wish it was more. I wish I could give you a bigger Christmas gift. Or, oh, shoot, well, always, look what the neighbors gave their kids for Christmas. Oh, geez, don't go down that road.
Happen
Oh, of course it does.
And so it's seeing what you have to offer and what you have to give is adequate.
Oh,
This
more
is
than
enough.
I am enough.
It's what it comes down to. It almost sounds like people's relationship with money. The more I can do, then my value goes up here.
But really, it's you are enough. And the best gifts, we know this, the best gifts are ones that are homemade or thoughtful.
Absolutely.
Or, a note that expresses your love for that person, or my kids, they'll do something musical for me, or those are the best ones of all. They're actually not monetary. So we just have to, and we have to surround ourselves with other people who are thinking the same way.
That's the key.
It is key.
It is key.
Yeah. So when we talk about gift ideas or the holidays or what's it going to look like, let's put the value on the non-monetary pieces. We do a caroling party. It is so fun. No one's a professional singer. We've got cowbells.
Go house to house.
We go in our neighborhood and they love it. Are you kidding me? They love it. There's no cost. There's no cost. I use the same printed sheets that I've had for like 10 years. It's a gift of time. Talent is kind of, I don't know if it's really talent, but we're doing our best.
That's beautiful.
And everyone loves it. And that's the gift. So we just have to change the story. But it really starts with
your community, yourself, your community, your family.
And those conversations.
And standing and, no, this is the way I choose to live.
And then you asked for 3 things, the big takeaways. I would say that in that contentment, the number one thing is that we are thankful. We have to have that gratitude, that we are acknowledging what we have, and we are so thankful for it. I wrestle with this myself because, things can get hard, or I just had a water heater that wasn't giving us hot water. I think I've alluded to the water heater twice. It's because I had a cold shower 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That was literal. But being grateful will drive everything else. And putting that into words, speaking that, making sure others know what we're thankful for. I think that's a key piece for financial wellness.
Is living in a place of gratitude in all aspects of life.
Totally. Yeah, and we have to speak that in front of our children too, because they're picking up on all of it. And if all we're doing is complaining about, well, gosh, our backyard isn't as big as our neighbors. I'm guilty of that, by the way. Or wouldn't it be nice if we could go on vacations like so-and-so? If we're speaking that, they're going to pick up on that as well. That just breeds jealousy and
envy.
and envy.
And then there isn't connection anymore.
You lost it.
Yeah.
You totally lost it. And also with that thankfulness, we can be happy for other people too. We can show that. But that's a whole other level.
Okay. Share a little
Well,
bit more.
it's hard. I mean, you know, how wonderful that that person got that windfall, came into that money. I'm so glad for them. I do hope they manage it well, though. That's something we can say. I hope they make good choices with it. But just being happy for other people and stop right there. I'm happy for you. Not, wish it could happen to me too. Wouldn't that be nice?
So
I'm
even
happy
those
for you.
subtleties of what we say to ourselves,
Yes.
it creates envy.
Right, it can.
And then that can create greed.
That greed and greed.
Lust, and then it just takes over.
It takes hold of you. It's the love of money. So it's so funny. I work in finance, but the challenge is the love of money. We can't go there. We can't love money. But we have to be stewards of it.
So it's not something that's just innately taught to us.
No, it is not. No.
How to engage with it and just not love it, but steward it
Yeah.
with skill.
With skill. Oh, and that was my third thing. 3 nuggets. Surround yourself with wise counsel. It's really important. So be exposed, whether you're listening to a podcast or you have a financial advisor or you have a mentor or someone who's speaking into you about how to make good choices with your finances. Because everyone says, oh gosh, if only I won the lottery. Do not play the lottery.
People say that all the time.
Do not play the lottery.
You're not going to win the lottery.
You're not going to win it. Stop playing it. You are losing money. Stop playing the lottery. But save that money. Put it in a money market fund or something balanced or wise or, have the long game. The get-rich-quick schemes are so few and limited, and the tragedies that come out of those are so much greater. So,
100%.
there's
I've seen that.
so many sad stories. But surround yourself with wise counsel, people who can really advise you.
So if people wanted to seek out your wise counsel, how would people find you? How do they reach out to you?
I have a website, www.enmeier.com, San Clemente Wealth Management. Walk in. I'm on Del Mar. Come find me.
And so if they have questions specifically about how to manage long-term retirement, any other things that you would be able to coach them on?
Yeah, we really specialize in the long game. Our stuff is so boring. I always say we're the boring investors. We're not the ones that you're going to bring up at the next party and be like, woohoo, look what I did. Look what I just did in a month. Oh my gosh, my Bitcoin, this and that did something crazy. No, we're not that thrilling. We're the long game. So you have a steady, consistent, stay the path, monthly contribution, save, systematically save. Don't try to time the market and all the get-rich-quick stuff. Start saving for the kids' college early. Start when they're babies. Watch that grow. Oh, that's so fantastic. That time comes
fast. It does.
It comes so fast. And if we could... Okay, well, 2 thoughts. 1, if we could help our kids graduate from college debt-free, that is the biggest gift we could give them. To launch them into the world. We started this conversation talking about how hard it is to buy a house here. What if you're also laden with college debt on top of that? So if we could give our kids a debt-free college experience, and that might mean a junior college or a state school, or again, shift the expectations. It could be anything. That would be a huge gift. But the second thing I was going to say is let's start having the financial conversations with younger people now. My favorite clients are the 20-somethings. The 20-somethings, because they're still teachable. And they come in.
They don't have all the baggage.
Yeah, well, or they haven't screwed it up already. They come in and they say, I'm 24 years old. I've got my first job. I'm making good money. And they're making great money. I'm so happy for them. They're making more money than they've ever seen before. And they're smart because they're scared. And they know to be scared. This is a lot of money. I don't want to screw this up. What should I do? And they call me. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Yes, I can catch you while you're young. Let's set you up. Let's set you up now on a pattern, a behavior that you're going to put this much into your 401k. You're going to live off of this. Anytime you get a raise, you're going to trick yourself. You're only going to live off of half of that raise, and you're going to take the other half and immediately put it into savings like it didn't even exist. Like, okay. And they're just like, okay, sure, I'll do that. And it's so fun to coach those younger, malleable folks than it is to have, like the 60 and 70-year-olds who come in and say, do I have enough to retire? And you have to look at it and go, no, you don't.
That's tragic.
You don't. You have literally thousands and thousands and maybe even hundreds of thousands in debt. You are living a lifestyle that is way beyond your means, and you have nothing saved. That is a real story that actually happened. And you are in your late 60s, and no, you cannot stop working. You have nothing. So I love the conversations on the other end of that.
You can protect them.
Totally set them up for success. Yeah. And I have some really fun opportunities, and I love speaking to younger groups. Like I'm speaking to National Charity League on Monday. I'm speaking to American Boys Legion coming up. I've done workshops through the city of San Clemente at the community center for middle school kids, teaching them about foundations in finance. Clients will bring in their kids who have just graduated college and say, hey, meet with Corrine. Meet with Corrine. She'll tell you what to do. I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah, it brings you joy.
Oh, I'm on fire. I love that.
I'm sure your kids are so set up in terms of how to manage all of this.
Well, it's cute. They say.
And do you have a daughter that might want to go into this with you?
Well, I don't know about a daughter. Maybe, but maybe a son.
A son.
Yeah,
okay.
He's still young. We'll see.
You see it in him.
Yeah.
The potential.
But they all three know that they can ask me anything. They can ask me anything. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say. As far as like surrounding yourself with wise counsel, ask the questions. We started this with saying people think it's taboo to talk about finance. They'd rather talk about sex than they would finance. But ask the questions. I cannot tell you how many times someone will call my office, and they may be any age. They say, oh, I have a really dumb question to ask you. And they whisper it like, I'm ashamed to ask that I don't know this. Ask anything. How are you supposed to know if you were never taught? So keep learning, keep growing, ask the questions, figure it out. But you're never too old to.
Just don't be afraid to ask and explore.
Absolutely, and grow.
Is there any particular books, because there's some go-to books that I'll recommend for people,
That's good.
that you would say could set someone up to start having the proper mindset financially? Is there certain ones you enjoy them more?
Yeah, there's this book that I read ages ago, and that was one that really shaped me with that give some, save some, live joyfully on the rest. That's called Living Large. It's so outdated now. It talks about, flip phones and, cars. It's really outdated, but the principles are all there. But I really like Dave Ramsey. He's put out a ton of resources that he speaks to the same thing, annihilating debt and not letting debt have control over you. So he's just a great resource. He does podcasts and
seminars,
syndicated. Oh, you can workshops.
Even get coaches through
yeah. He's a great resource. I really like his stuff. And there's a bunch you can follow on Instagram. I'm blanking on a couple of them right now.
It's okay.
But yeah.
Or any podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much out there, but just put it through the filter that these are any advice that coaches long-term solutions, slow and steady, and not a get-rich-quick solution. If it promises anything that's here's a solution to make you a millionaire in the next 12 months, abort. No, run. It's false. So stay away from those.
Yeah. Just do the hard work. Be willing to work hard and stay in that.
Stay the course.
Yeah.
And be content with what you have. Yeah. Work hard. Yeah. It'll pay off. It does.
Is there anything else, Sam, that you think we're good? Okay.
Well, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say.
Yeah, think about it.
Let me take
anything else.
Oh. Put that down.
You're like, I got one more.
There was one thing I wanted to say. One of the things that I focus on as a personal objective as a financial planner is that my hope and goal for each of my clients is that they would sleep well at night. If you're set up in a portfolio, if your money is managed correctly, you should not be worrying about it. You should not be losing sleep over it. So that's something that I really try to find out, and that's unique to the client. What drives them, what worries them, what concerns them, and then what can we do to mitigate that risk so that they don't have to worry about it. It's really important.
I find that people are kept up at night.
If they're in the wrong situation. If they're taking on too much risk, or they're living outside their means, or they're racking up debt. Yes, they do lose sleep. So that's kind of a good way to think of it.
Slowing down, so really working with those elements. Maybe modify the level of risk, or
yeah, you should not have to lose sleep over this. That's not what it's intended for. This gift, the finances that you have are a gift. That should not be a burden that's causing you to lose sleep if you're managing it well. So that's something I try to help with. What else?
Anything else? We good?
You just need to end it.
You need to start it and end it.
Yeah, no, I'll just, let me end it with you. What is the last statement I usually make? I need to ride the waves of grace or something like that. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us on how to manage our finances, how to live a life of joy and contentment, and how those two are real. The money and joy and contentment can be interrelated.
They can be.
Yeah. So, and how you shared tips for the holidays to be prepared, to do this well so that we have joy. And ultimately, it's about joy.
It is. Yeah. It's a spirit of giving and being intentional with your heart. It's a condition of the heart. So I've had a blast. This is so fun.
Thank you for being here with us.
So much fun.
At Salted Up.
Thank you.
And yes, if you want to reach out, please do.
Great. Thanks, Lyssa.
Thank you.